Welcome to the Friendly Frequencies podcast. I am your host, Carmen McLeod, and I am here to talk to you about my passion for spirituality and personal development. My purpose in life at this time is to remind you how powerful you truly are and that you create your own reality. If the mind, the soul, and the universe are topics that interest you, and you want to continue to evolve into your soul's purpose, then you are in the right place. Thank you for joining me as I travel the world and record my journey through self-discovery. Hello everyone! Welcome back to the Friendly Frequencies podcast. I am here in the Philippines currently, and I will give you a few updates on my life as a traveling artist and podcaster, and give you some, and then give you the topic of our conversation today, which is context. So first things first, just quick updates on my life. I just went and got my visa today to stay an extra month in the Philippines, so that's exciting. It doesn't really change anything. I was already planning to stay this 2 months, but I was never actually sure that I'd be allowed to because they only give you 30 days up front. So anyways, I just got my extra 30 days and everything went smoothly, and I'm really happy about that. So I'm officially staying here until November 23rd. Then I go to New Zealand. So another thing that I have that's kind of exciting and a little scary that I have tomorrow, which isn't really that big of a deal, but it's called the Buddhist Cleanse. I just read this book. Julius, the guy I'm staying with, is so awesome. He said he listened to one of my podcast episodes and he brought me 3 books that were about meditation, and one of them is about this Buddhist cleanse. He's like, yeah, I listened to your podcast and I think that you would like these books. And I'm like, oh, I love to be known like that. So that made me really happy. And I really did love the books. I read all 3 of them already. And the one that I am the most interested in is obviously the Buddhist cleanse, which isn't really about meditation at all. It's just like you essentially live like a Buddhist for one day, like a monk for one day. There's a bunch of rules, and I'm not even going to get into all of it right now because I'm going to do it tomorrow, and I'm just going to do a podcast episode on it next week, talk about how it was and what I got from it. But basically I'm cutting out all the things that you like to have in your life, basically. Cutting out dinner, any like stimulation such as like music or entertainment. The only thing I can do is like reading books or creativity, like painting, or there's a bunch of things that I can do. But you have to abstain from abstain from sex, basically all of the and like lying, taking things that aren't yours, things like that the monks do on a day-to-day basis. I have to sleep on the floor. So some of these things are going to be a little harder than others, but honestly I feel like I'm already kind of doing a lot of these things, so it's not going to be too much. But I'm going to go over all of it in a whole episode, just to give you guys like the rundown of what it was like and what it entails. And then if you want to do one, then great. I'll give you all of the information on that and basically just summarize the book that I read. So that's what I'm doing tomorrow. So anyways, stay tuned for that. Oh, okay. And I have another really exciting thing that's coming up. Boston Breakthrough Academy, which is this really intense personal development course that is going to take place this weekend. I'm so excited, but I'm really scared because of the time difference. It's happening in the US, but it's over Zoom. So the time difference for me, it's going to be from 1 a.m. to 1 p.m. every day, or like 1 a.m. to noon every day. So I'm going to be completely nocturnal over the weekend, and I've been prepared for this. I'm super excited. It's like life-changing stuff. My brothers have both done it, and they both enrolled me into doing it. And it's a big thing. It's a big deal. It's like to me it seems like as transformational as the Women's Weekend, and I know how intense and transformational that was. So really excited. But yeah, that's another thing that's going to happen this weekend. So by the next time I talk to you guys, I'm literally going to be perhaps a different person, like completely different person, in a good way, of course. lots of growth to be had over the next week. So I'm really excited. So yeah, you're going to want to tune into the next 2 episodes because I'll do them separately about what I got from BBA plus what I get from this Buddhist cleanse. So those are my updates. Thanks for waiting. I kind of have to do a short episode right now because I'm squeezing it in before a dinner. And so I only have like a limited amount of time, but I don't think this would take too long anyways. I want to talk about context, meaning what you're focusing on. Like, what are you focusing on in your day-to-day life, in a day-to-day situation, or in a situation where you are kind of down in the dumps or not enjoying whatever's happening, or you're thinking that your life is kind of shitty at the moment. So this came up for me recently, and I was able to shift my context around a situation where I was getting annoyed and I was getting frustrated. So I'll give you a little bit of like context around this, which is, so the place that I'm at right now in Mindoro, the whole island of Mindoro is not really a tourist place. It's been a very authentic experience. I've been living with locals. It's comparable to what the situation I was in, the place that I lived in Cambodia, the first place, which was very authentic, and I was living with local people with no tourists around. And so I know how this feels a little bit because at that time it felt like my friend Emily and I, so at least I wasn't the only one, but if it weren't for her, I would have been the only white person, the only foreigner. She was with me, and her and I both were like famous, or like kind of, we stood out, of course, because we were the only white people, and people were obviously really excited to see us and really like so we had a lot of attention on us, and it was kind of a weird culture shock for us. And so anyways, I'm going through that all over again, and this time I'm alone. I'm the only white person. Actually, I think an Australian person just arrived today as another volunteer, but I have not met them yet. But so I guess I'm not the only white person now, but up until this point, over the last like 10 days or so, I have been the only white person on the entire island. But so I've had to really experience a lot of attention on myself, and it's been quite uncomfortable at times. As much as I love the people out here, let me just say, especially the women. Oh my gosh, the women are amazing. I've met some kick-ass women out here, and I've also met some creepy men, but that's literally every country. It doesn't just apply to the Philippines, but I've also met some kick-ass men. So anyways, I have, in general though, with the people who not the people who work here, because I've been with them every day and we've all kind of, they know who I am at this point, so it's not like crazy that I'm here, and they have volunteers come, so they're more used to it. But when people come to the resort, because it's a farm resort that I'm at, and on the weekends it gets quite busy, and I've also been taken to different communities, like in the same community, but they have these like I went to a school where they teach farming for rice. I went there and I was completely like a celebrity there. People were asking to take photos with me, and it was quite overwhelming. That was the first time that I was like, oh wow, okay, like I'm famous here. Wow. And then but I've gotten used to it now, because it's been like that a few days now, where people will just come up to me a lot and ask me for photos and just give me a lot of attention. And so I've come to be like fine with it now, of course, but the point of the episode is how I became okay with this, and how I was able to shift the context from being annoyed, because at some point I was getting a bit annoyed, and I think because I was tired. I was working on the second mural, and I've been working my ass off on these murals because and I have really not taken much breaks. I've been working long days getting them done, and didn't take any time off between the 2 murals because of BBA, because of the course that I'm doing. This is going to be 3 full 12-hour days of, so when I'm not in the course, I'm going to be sleeping. So need to make sure I get the murals done, which they will be. But it's been a lot of work, and it's been really fun, But also I have people like all over the weekend while I was working, people were coming up to me a lot and asking to take photos, and I think I was just a little overwhelmed by all the attention because it was a really busy day at the resort. During the week, it's not really like that. There's not many people here. So I was kind of like, okay, I guess, like, I'll take a photo with you, and just kind of like was not wanting to. And then, at some point in the day, I was like, just randomly, I don't know what came over me, but I just thought, wait a minute, this is my chance to prepare and to practice for when I really am famous. Which I know sounds a little bit like I'm tooting my own horn, but you know me, I just, my success is inevitable. So not that and it's not the being famous that I've ever cared about, but I just know that because of the trajectory of my life and because of the fact that I want to get into public speaking and I want to be this personal development kind of person, I see this for myself now. So anyways, and whether it happens or not, it really doesn't matter because I'm on whatever path that I'm on. However, this was just my chance to change the context and be like, oh, well, if I want to, become a public speaker and change the world, I'm going to have to deal with this, with people wanting photos with me. Like, I'm going to have to deal with attention, lots of attention. And I've experienced lots of attention over the last, since I started traveling, from people here, from locals here, also even just from people in my life, just lots of, and really good attention. Like, I've received so much love and support from everyone, which has been so lovely, and I'm really grateful for it. And so it's kind of like I'm slowly getting more practice at having this much attention on me, at having all of this, it's kind of overwhelming at times, but I was able to shift my context to be like, oh, well, great. This is a good thing. This is practice. This is, not only is it practice, it's manifesting. Like, I'm manifesting the feeling of being famous. And guys, I'm not even joking. Like, I actually am famous over here. I and the staff here tell me this too. They're like, no, you're the only white person around. You're talked about. People talk about me like I'm the foreigner. They're like, oh, you were with the foreigner. Like, I stand out like a freaking whatever I don't know what the saying is, but you know what I'm saying. I was also on the news, not for being white. Well, that's probably why they obviously asked me, but I was on their news. Someone came over with a news crew came. It was for these firemen came. I don't know. And it was a news special they were doing. I don't know what it was really about because it was not in my language. But they asked me if I would be in it. And while I was painting, I said a little line that they asked me to say. And so I was in a news thing. And then one of the people that I was with today was like, hey, I saw you on the news. I was like, wait, that's Carmen. I was like, yeah. He's like, did you know that they put you on the news? Like, did they tell you? I was like, yeah, no, I said it was okay that they put me on the news. So that was funny. But anyways, so I'm a big deal out here, guys. And it's pretty hilarious when you think about it. And anyways, it's actually, my whole context has changed about it. And, when you're able to look at things in life, from everything that happens in life, you can change the context to look at it however you want. And how you look at it is how you're going to feel and how much more you're going to attract. So if you're going to look at whatever scenario, circumstance you want to think of as an example for yourself or in the future, if you want to look at your scenario as a negative, then that's just what your context is. That's how your life's going to keep on flowing. It's going to be negative. More bad things are going to happen to you. But I can almost guarantee you that every situation can be flipped and you can look at it in a positive way. You can change your context. And the way to do this is just to focus on what you're grateful for. What are you grateful for? And there's always, always, always something to be grateful for. So whatever your context is right now around whatever situation, you can hopefully think about it in the moment when you're in a bad vibe and you're